I had 25 days to figure out how to pay rent, or I was packing my bags and flying home. Gigging wasn't cutting it. I was teaching at a local music school, which barely covered my bills, and I had $0 in savings. That's when I started teaching music online, which is something that completely changed my life forever. Fast forward, I built a 6-figure business teaching music online, giving me financial and creative freedom that I never imagined. And it also helped me land a gig playing drums full-time on a West End theatre show here in London. And if you're a musician looking to have some more freedom in your career, I've got something special for you, which I'll explain more about later in the video. So I first moved to London in 2020, fresh off of about 2 years having been playing drums on cruise ships all around the world. Now, at first, the cruise ship thing seemed like an exciting way to make a living playing music, and it was for the most part, but after a few years of it, it became exhausting. Sharing a cabin, a tiny cabin, playing the same music night after night. And I sort of felt like I was stuck in a bit of an endless loop of work with little reward. And it really wore me down. And I remember one night laying in my cramped bunk bed, staring up at the ceiling and saying to my cabin mate, like, man, I'm about to turn 28. Like, I don't really want to be sleeping in a bunk bed anymore. That was the moment I knew I needed to make a change. So I decided to quit that job and start fresh in London. There was one problem though. I had saved basically no money, despite having worked all that time in cruise ships. So I moved with about $2,000 in my bank account and a dream, and I was really hoping for the best. And my safety net was, if it all went wrong, I could fly back to Australia and just crash at my parents' place. Now, even before leaving cruise ships, I had been thinking for some time about how I could, make some money online, specifically with teaching. And I was really sick of living paycheck to paycheck, and I knew I needed something more sustainable than gigging. One thing I was sure about was I wanted help, I wanted some advice, but from someone outside of music, because let's be real, musicians are notoriously bad at business. I found a mentor and he helped me get started structuring a teaching program that was focused on helping drummers develop more flow and improvisation around the kit. Now, the idea kind of felt solid, but it was definitely more of a side project at the time. Now, once I'd landed in London, I needed money quickly, right? I had barely enough money to cover my rent, and I took a job teaching at one of those like local after-school music shops. The pay was terrible. I was teaching kids who didn't want to be there. I was dragging myself to work like 2 or 3 days a week just to scrape by. And it was draining. But I kept telling myself it was temporary. I just needed time to figure things out while I was looking for gigs and that sort of thing. And then the pandemic happened. And suddenly everything stopped. Like most musicians, I lost my work overnight. The teaching job stopped. They tried to transition everything online, but it was a disaster. Like most of the students dropped out. And just like that, I was completely out of work. Now, at this point, I'd been slowly kind of working on the online teaching stuff, but now I had no choice but to go all in. I looked at my calendar and I remember thinking, I've got 25 days to figure out how to pay my rent. I had no backup plan. I either made this work or I packed my bags and I went home. By the way, drop a like on this video if it resonates with you. I dove headfirst into building my online program, which was a structured coaching program for drummers. I had no money for ads, so I started looking for my first students on Facebook, believe it or not. The first few weeks were rough. I had no reputation, no students. I was getting ghosted like left and right. And I remember spending hours messaging potential students, just getting rejection after rejection. And then after what felt like dozens of failed attempts, I got my first yes. And I'll never forget that moment, right? I was on this Zoom call with a potential student explaining my program, my pricing, all that kind of stuff. And he was like, I'm in, sign me up. And I was so surprised that I realized I didn't even have a way to take the payment yet. So like while I was in the Zoom call, I was literally creating a PayPal account just so I could process the payment. And it was surreal. Like for the first time ever, I'd made money entirely online doing something I was really passionate about. That one student turned into a few more, and over time, I refined my program. I improved my processes for acquiring students. And the business started growing. And over the next, a little over 2 years, I did just over 200,000 US in revenue. And my entire perspective on what was possible as a musician had changed. I'd gone from barely scraping by to running a six-figure business, teaching students from all over the world, talking about stuff that I'm super passionate about. And I remember telling my mentor when I first started working with him, like, dude, I just want to make like 2 or 3 grand a month so I can have some freedom with my music career. And he just laughed and he was like, okay, well, that's easy. So what's the goal after that? And that conversation stuck with me because it kind of made me realize I'd been thinking too small, with my career. Building my online teaching business, it didn't just change my finances, but it also changed my entire music career. Instead of taking whatever gigs I could, like just to survive, I could be more strategic. So I only had to say yes to the gigs that I felt genuinely helped me grow as a musician or that I was really excited to play. And this freedom really changed how I approached my career. So instead of, playing every low paying wedding cover band gig just to get by, I could focus more on projects that actually like moved my career forward. Part of the result from that is that now I'm playing drums full time on a West End theatre show here in London. And ironically, having a solid income teaching music online, gave me the opportunity to put myself in the positions to be able to capitalize on those playing opportunities and really do things on my own terms. One of the most surprising things also that came out of this journey was how much I actually fell in love with teaching, right? Seeing my students actually improve, watching them reach new levels of drumming that they never thought was possible became insanely rewarding. And also I was being compensated well. So I was pouring everything that I had into making my coaching program the absolute best that it could be. Then kind of something a bit more unexpected happened where a few of my students who were also teaching kind of on the side, they started asking me for some business advice, right? They'd kind of watched my program grow and they wanted to know, like, how can I do the same thing? Now, at first, I didn't think too much of it, but then I ended up taking on a few business consulting clients, like to help them out. And it really lit a fire in me. I realized that my passion for teaching, it wasn't just limited to drums. Like I also loved helping other musicians increase their income and make teaching more of a fulfilling part of their career rather than something they just do because they have to. I know exactly what it's like to feel stuck as a musician, like relying on low-paying teaching jobs and chasing unpredictable gig work and constantly feeling like you have no control over your income or your career. But I also know that teaching online can completely change the game. It gives you financial security, creative freedom, and the ability to focus on the music that you actually want to play and pursue creative projects that you care about. I also understand that most musicians don't necessarily want to start a whole teaching business like I did, but definitely wouldn't say no to a few regular high-paying students on the side. So that's why I've created Musician Freedom, which is a community inside the platform Skool where musicians like you can learn exactly how to generate more income, creativity, and freedom through online music teaching. The Skool platform is great because it's separate from a social media group or like an online course. And the Musician Freedom community is a private, interactive community designed specifically for musicians who want to teach online. Combines training, coaching, networking in an easy to use platform without just the distractions of Facebook or other social networks. So who is this for? Okay, this is for you if you're a gigging musician and you're looking to supplement your income with some online teaching, or maybe you're someone who's never taught before but you're looking to get started. Or even if you're an experienced teacher, but you're wanting to move more of your students online for some more flexibility and freedom, this is for you. Inside the Musician Freedom community, you'll get access to step-by-step training on how to get and how to keep online students. There'll be live coaching calls as well, where I can help you troubleshoot and scale your teaching. The third thing is a supportive community, right, of like-minded musicians who are all moving towards the same goals and building and growing their online music teaching. And lastly, you get direct feedback from me and also other people who have done this successfully. I'm building these resources right now, so here's what I'm offering. Right now, I'm giving free lifetime access to the first 100 members who join my Skool community. It's not a free trial, it's not a discount, it's free forever. Once those 100 spots are filled, my view is that it will become a paid membership. But if you grab your spot right now, you'll never pay a cent. So this basically means you can start learning and, profitably teaching online with zero cost, zero risk, and zero catch. While I'm developing more of the resources, all that I ask in return is for your engagement and your curiosity. So if you have any questions or suggestions, I want to hear how I can best help you. You don't have to figure it all out alone. Inside this community, you get proven strategies, real support, and a clear roadmap to earn more teaching music online that gives you freedom in your music career. So click the link down below, check out the video there if it resonates. You can join for free before the first 100 spots are gone. And remember, once you're in for free for life. So I'll see you inside.